Hello everyone, Critical Matt here bringing you a game review. On the docket today,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles!
Shredder's Revenge.
I grew up a fan of the 1987 cartoon and live action movies from the 1990s. I wasn't expecting it when I first saw the trailer for it, but it instantly put a smile on my face. So settle in and put your favorite breakfast cereal on your favorite pizza, grab your ninja weapons, and let's answer the age-old question. Shredder's Revenge. Is it any good? First up is graphic design. Inspired by the 1987 cartoon based on the comic series and the classic arcade beat-em-up Turtles in Time, it features a retro design true to the classic Turtles look. It bears limited graphical options and should be able to run on just about anything, even your fridge. The stages all have neat little details and offer enough variety not to be repetitive. The game is set in New York, the same as the show and comics, as you chase Shredder and his gang around such places as the Channel 6 News Building, the streets of New York, the zoo, the obligatory sewer level, and a brief foray into Dimension X. The character designs are great, from the playable heroes and the Scout's bags you whoop shell on, along with the four turtles, Michelangelo, Raphael, Leonardo, and Donatello as playable characters. It includes Splinter and April, with Casey as an unlockable hero for beating the story mode. For villains, besides Shredder himself, you have all the classics, such as Bebop, Rocksteady, Baxter, Krang, and more, with plenty of foot ninjas, rock warriors, robots, and more to fill out Shredder's insidious roster. The animations are well done and entertaining. Enemies don't just come from the right of the screen, but burst from the scenery and are often working at desks, cash registers, eating ice cream, and interacting with the world around them in various ways. It gives the vibe that being a part-time evil ninja doesn't pay very well. It serves to humanize them and give them a little bit of character. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the visual design they got going here. It fills my brain full of those happy, nostalgic chemicals it desperately craves. Fans of the original cartoon will recognize the familiar characters and locations. They even recreate the original cartoon's opening with all new animation. Next up, the most important part of the game, the gameplay. As I mentioned before, it is a beat-em-up modeled after the classic arcade games of yesteryear. Mash the button, move right, and sometimes up or down to the next screen, beating the shell out of anyone before moving on. It features two primary modes of play, story and arcade mode. Story mode is a far more relaxed experience. You have unlimited continues and start each level with 3 lives and the ability to unlock additional ones at the start of each stage. It includes a Super Mario 3 style world map between levels. Story mode encourages more exploration with discoverable side quests for various side characters from the show, which you can unlock by finding hidden inside the destructible objects in the various levels, earn points to level up your heroes to gain more power, additional super attacks, more health, and more lives at the start of each stage. Each stage is replayable with challenges and collectibles to find and complete. It includes autosaves and ability to pick up where you left off on the world map. Your friends can join you anytime via a second controller or remote play through Steam. As well as the ability to matchmake with random players, the game features crossplay between Xbox and PC with the ability to play with friends or random people, although matchmaking did not work for me. Arcade mode is for those seeking a more classic experience. No world map, a limited amount of lives, no grinding power levels, collectibles, or side quests, or continues, just pure arcade action. No quitting and coming back where you left off either. It's a one-way trip. Both modes include 3 difficulty levels, chill, okay, and gnarly, easy, medium, and hard respectively. Starting a new game in story mode after completing it allows you the option of keeping your character power levels or discarding your power levels and starting again. As I mentioned earlier, you have a total of 6 starting heroes and 1 unlockable hero. Each hero has 3 different stats, range, speed, and power, meaning each hero feels slightly different in how they play, encouraging you to test out each one to find your favorite. Controls are simple, smooth, and responsive. I played the Steam version of the game using a Switch Pro controller. I had absolutely no issues. I cannot speak for mouse and keyboard controls, I never did test them out. This feels like a game you really should be playing on a controller. I was unable to find any remapping options under the menus. All I found were automatic back attacks and a flick sprint toggle. While the controls are just fine, it would be nice to have button remapping included. I have my Switch controller set to be emulated as a 360 controller to use an Xbox style button layout, so keep in mind the controls I'm about to list are mapped for an Xbox controller. X is your basic attack. Smashing it performs a combo. Y is the super attack that you build up by performing combos without being hit, or hitting RB to perform a charge up animation. The charge up animation is related to what character you're playing. A is for jumping and B is dodge. Combining attacks and jumping or dodging can perform different moves. You unlock more super attacks as you level your character's power during story mode. It's a standard affair for a beat 'em up. Move right till you can no longer move right. Beat everything within an inch of its life till no one is left, then move on. You can find power-ups in the forms of different pizzas, one for restoring health, one for power, and one for unlimited super attacks. There is also a wide variety of enemies, each with different mechanics, from grapples to blocking, riding motorcycles, and charging at you. It steadily introduces fresh and new enemy types as well as a combination of enemy types to keep you on your toes. You'll come across obstacles and hazards in your way that you must dodge or take damage, such as holes to fall in, electric traps, spike traps, and more. As the game progresses, they combine enemy types and obstacles to keep things fresh and challenge you in new ways. During my time with the game, it never got dull or overly repetitive. I, however, did find some enemies that frustrated me. They were just a pain to deal with, namely a laser shooting robot that runs away from you and a gooey pizza monster that constantly melts into the floor and leaves little room to hit. I will mention that for veteran beat-em-up players, the game may be a little too easy. For me, it really only started to pick up in difficulty around stage 12. Though I personally did overall enjoy the difficulty curve of the game, I should also mention I was playing on OK, aka normal. It does have a problem that plagues other titles of the same genre. I oftentimes found myself punching past the enemy. This is because I misjudged the lane they were in. This is a common problem of beat-em-ups. This has to do with fighting on a flat 2D plane from a top-down perspective. I recommend, rather than focusing on the sprites themselves, to instead focus on the shadows they cast. It is especially noticeable when the enemies are flying above you. Despite my minor grievances, the gameplay is solid overall. Let's move on to the next section, sound design. It would be a crime against video games if I failed to mention the awesome rendition of the original theme song sung by Mike Patton over the opening animation when you launched the game. I would play some of it here for you, but I fear it would net me a copyright strike. What can I say other than the soundtrack to this game is truly amazing. It's hard not to dance along as you play the game.
Give me a break.
This is a definite buy if they release it on vinyl. T. Lopez was at the head of this soundtrack and is known for working on other retro titles. It also features some talents from members of the Wu-Tang Clan. As I continue to play the game, I noticed something. The lines spouted by the heroes as you play them, the voiced lines between stages during scenes, all sounded so familiar. I couldn't place my finger on it till watching an episode or two of the original cartoon. Looking up on the wiki and yeah, they are here. The original voice cast from the 1987 cartoon for the 4 original Turtles, Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, and Raphael, actually returned to reprise their role. And so glad they went through the extra effort of hiring the original cast of the show. It just goes to show the amount of love they poured into this project. The sound effects are well done. There isn't much to say other than they did an excellent job on the sound side of things. All there is left to do now is to go over the plot. Well, the Shredder's back and he wants revenge. There isn't much else to say. It starts off with a short unvoiced scene of Shredder's minions assaulting Channel 6 and meddling with the Statue of Liberty. Besides the short intro scene, you get some stills between stages with a voiced line. It's pretty basic. The Shredder does the bad and the Turtles must stop the Shredder. It's nothing to write home about, but it gives enough motivation to drive the game forward without hindering the action. It ends with a final unvoiced scene before the credits roll. I can't help but wish the opening scene and ending scene included some sort of voice acting, but it's serviceable. That's it. There's really not much else to say beyond it gets the job done. We're at the point of the video where I summarize my thoughts and give the game a final score. As far as the visual design goes, I really like it. I love pixel art and retro style games. The art style is right up my alley and they did a good job with the visual design. The gameplay is fast and addicting. It has some of the failings of other beat 'em ups in the genre, such as annoying enemy types and difficulty at times hitting foes, and may be a little on the easy side as well for veteran players. I did not mention this earlier as it had already happened to me as I recorded the audio for this review. I started a new game on story mode. It asked me if I wanted to keep my power levels. I clicked yes. But I soon realized I was missing someone on my hero roster. Casey. Restarting the story mode takes away the unlockable character. This is really dumb and bad design on their part. I also had issues finding other players to play with using the matchmaking feature built in game. Overall though, it's fun with polished controls and level design. It offers a nice range of foes and challenges to overcome. It's solid. The music is fun and fitting, the sound effects do their jobs, and it's great to hear some of the original cast come back to reprise their roles from the original show. The plot is serviceable. It does enough to drive the game forward without getting in the way. There's not much else to say on the matter really. Now to conclude the video with a score. Rating the game, I have to give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's great. I had a lot of fun playing it and I do recommend picking up a copy. It has some shortfallings here and there, but overall it's a great experience and it's filled with genuine love from the developers. I recommend picking it up. If you made it this far, thank you. I really appreciate it. Till next time, I'm Critical Matt.